Welcome to Wealthy Mind, where we talk about all things finances, the good, the bad, the ugly, and the surprising.
Hello, welcome to Wealthy Mind. I am your host, Misty Rose Gold, International Success Coach, and we love helping you to maintain or create a wealthy mind. Today I have with me Carolyn Strauss. Hi, Carolyn.
Hi, Misty. Thanks for having me. This is so much fun.
Yes, this is going to be a really fun conversation with you because you are a professional speaker.
Yes, I am. I have been for decades. I always say I'm from the 1900s and I've been doing this since then. So, yeah.
That's
And,
awesome.
I've been a business owner and I've worked with hundreds of business owners and spoken for executive groups globally. So, no, this playing with you here in this space with your audience is my happy place.
Yay, I like to hear that. So, you guys, Carolyn is an international speaker and she's a great keynote. That's actually how we met. She was keynoting an event. I spoke at the event, she keynoted it. So, that's how we met, and it was love at first sight.
In fact, I think we're doing it again in September, that same thing. I'm keynoting and you're speaking. I believe that we're doing that again.
We'll have to take a pause on
Yeah.
that one.
Okay. We'll
Yeah,
see. But I
we'll
think it's
see.
true.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see how that plays out. Jury's out on that one. But um, I really wanted to talk with you today to share with the audience, like your gig is so cool. You travel the world, which I've done through Zoom. I've traveled the world and worked with people all over the world through Zoom, but you literally get on a plane and travel the world and go to all the different countries and speak in person,
Yeah.
and it's a viable business for you and you make money at it.
The one furthest I've ever done was in 2024, and I flew to South Africa, which is pretty much about as far as you can get from Colorado in North America to go to the tip of Africa. And I keynoted a conference there and spoke at a bunch of companies there. And it was a phenomenal experience. In fact, if you guys haven't been to South Africa, and if the political landscape allows it, I highly recommend it. I have never been around more kind, open-minded business leaders that I
Mm.
encountered there. And they think our accent is cool. I think their accent is cool, but I was like the celebrity there because they thought my accent was fun. So go to South Africa, you'll be treated really, really well as a business leader.
Mm. That's awesome. It's funny to think that we have an accent.
Right? Right? But I was there and everybody was like, "Oh, keep talking to me. You sound so great." I'm thinking, "All right. I will do
Right.
that." But their accent is wonderful.
Mm. It makes me think of like the UK. I love people from the UK and their accent. Like it's so amazing.
I was in Ireland last month, working, speaking, and actually attending a conference. I attended the first Reinvention Summit, and it was a global conference. In fact, a bunch of the people that I worked with in South Africa were attending that conference as well. So that was one of the main reasons I went.
Oh, nice.
But the Irish accent, and you'd be surprised, Irish food is pretty good if you like fried and potatoes. Irish food is really good. But it's European coffee, so any place that has good European coffee makes me happy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Uh, so what is your favorite part of traveling the globe?
Being there, not getting there. It used to be getting there. I used to love the traveling part and the flying part and the being at airports part and getting through the airport and getting on a plane. I got to tell you, that's changed
Mm.
since COVID.
Mm,
It changed after 9/11 and then all the
okay.
security processes. But, humans, we get used to anything. So I got
Sure.
used to that. Now people seem much more tense. And I know that I notice that I'm much more aware, like coming back. Oh, I spoke in Hawaii for 3 groups in February. And behind me on the plane, I was in economy plus. I was not in business or first, which does make a
Mhm.
huge difference. So as a business leader, if you can at all fly in business or first, do it. Do that for yourself. I don't do more than a 10-hour flight not in business or first anymore because it's not worth
Mhm.
it, but I'm in premium economy and there's this kid coughing and sneezing the whole way and I came home knowing I wasn't going to get sick and I got a cold. So there's a little of
Mm.
that, you know what I mean? So the traveling part isn't as fun anymore, to answer your question. However, oh, and if you can fly Qantas first class to Australia, do that. Just saying. But but being there now, because I have found there are a lot of people who don't travel. And since COVID, there are a lot of people who don't want to travel. And so I think people's worlds are getting smaller and smaller, and their point of view is getting smaller and smaller,
Mm.
and their belief system and what they're listening to, the bubble that people tend to be in now is getting, it used to be a bubble that was like a Glinda bubble that would vanish when you would land, right?
Yeah.
Now the bubbles are getting more like aluminum, and you
Mm.
almost have to like push your way through them to be heard. And I think that that's one of the biggest challenges that business leaders have now is to stay open because it can actually be painful now.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Don't you think? I mean, with all the coaching that you do of business leaders, look at so they have to deal with all of the people that work with them and for them, and then their community, and then their families, and it's very hard to stay clear and open at the same time now. It's getting harder and harder.
Yep. And it depends on your self-care practices, your mental practices. Like you have to look at the finest part of every part of your inner being. If you have high stress levels when things are going well, yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, this brings me to a situation where I had a client threaten to kill himself just in the last couple weeks because he's overwhelmed,
Right.
fearful, doesn't feel like he can handle the pressure and the responsibility. Like, it's a thing, it's real, you know?
So here's a little bit of a statistic. Can I share a little bit of what I've
Yes,
learned and what I've been
please.
studying? Okay. So most of us, most people, most business leaders now grew up in a time where you could go to college, get out of college or get your master's or whatever and start a business and run that business without any kind of a serious change or reinvention for 75 years. Then you, in 1989, with the fall of the Berlin Wall and the advent of the internet, that 75-year business cycle shortened to a 15-year business cycle.
Hmm.
That cycle now that we're living in, starting in about 2015, because that is when cell phones became more than 60% of the people on the planet had a cell phone and internet access in their pocket.
Mhm.
Now a business life cycle is around 6 years, and that's average.
Hmm.
So if you're the stress that people are feeling is this used to work and how I used to lead used to work and how I used to manage used to work and our processes and our strategies were designed in a time when the business cycle was much longer. And now the key to being in business is flexibility, adaptability, and a willingness to experiment. And I'm talking about in your communication strategies, in your processes, in your products, in your
Mhm.
customer acquisition
Mm.
strategy, in your customer keeping strategy. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It is everything has actually changed. And our team members, our employees, are having a really hard time because so much change is coming at them so fast that they're actually burnt out. So we
Mhm.
go to them and say, we're going to make this change. We think it's a good thing. They just go, oh my gosh, do I have to do this again? So it's
Yeah,
really
so
stressful.
it is. And pivoting is what I call it in my world.
Yes. Yes.
So I'm in an industry where I have to pivot on a regular basis, which is good for me because I don't feel as much of the pain of having like longevity and that long stability and then having to pivot. Um, I just had to pivot last week because I was in the hospital. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I still have to grow my business and still develop my business. Like the pipeline is an ongoing thing, it doesn't stop, right? So I had to figure out how to pivot with my health repairing.
Yes.
And I'm like, cool, can't go to networking groups. So how do I do this? Like, I need to pivot. And I figured it out on Friday. So I figured out my pivot and I was like, check, okay, done. But I'm used to it. Do you know what I mean?
Right, right. A pivot isn't a shock to your system. For a lot of people, a pivot is a shock to the system.
This time it was,
Yeah, I
but
know.
usually it's not.
But when you're in the hospital, so one of the things that I speak about is that there are three components that all have to work together when you're running a business. It's the survival, connection, and reputation. Those are the three areas of business that every business leader needs to pay attention to. So do you have everything you need to survive? Do you have the resources you need to survive? And then connection. Are you communicating with and connecting with the right partners? And I'm talking about like your vendors and your
Referral
suppliers and
partners.
referral partners,
Hmm.
especially. I mean, my business is very much, I would say that 90% of my speaking business comes from referrals, which
Hmm.
is amazing. I mean, my marketing, I do a lot of LinkedIn posting and I try to keep up with it, but I don't have like a team of people out there marketing for me. I would say 90% of my business is referrals. So that's the connection piece. And then there's the reputation piece. Are you maintaining the reputation in the marketplace where people, when they think about when they think about what you offer, you are the solution to the problem that they're having?
Mhm.
I
And
love that.
those are the three pieces that I think are really crystal clear to look at. But the survival, which is where you dealt with last week, being in the hospital, the
Mhm.
survival piece has got to be there because without survival, all of the survival resources, the connections don't happen and your reputation can't be enhanced. And even
Mm.
if you're, God forbid, sick, right? Like you were for a minute, thank God it's only a minute, but then the reputation, right? If you're not available for your clients when you normally are, the reputation can suffer. So I believe that all three of these circles feed into each other. And we've got to look at all of them because they're all changing. Because we're also, I mean, how many of us were on Twitter when it first started? Now, not so much, right? Now people are on Substack. That I believe is going to go away because they're annoying and I get emails from them every day and I wish it would stop, right? So, I mean, right, I was trying to follow a couple of business leaders that I love and now everybody on Substack is sending me an email, please stop. But right, so cuz I don't need it. We'll find what we need, but that's the thing. How do you become the answer to somebody's struggle?
Mm. I love that. So, how do you make money as a speaker? And you're answering this already.
Yeah.
You're answering it. Uh, know how to pivot. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Referrals are a big thing, which I've given you a referral for a speaking engagement. So,
I know. Thank you, honey.
right?
That's
Like,
yes.
I love it. Referrals are awesome. Make sure that you have a solid reputation.
Right.
And my reputation stands very firm because I build my business on trust, and my clients know that they can trust me, and my health is usually top notch. So,
Yep.
um, the people that were inconvenienced last week know exactly why I was in the hospital, and they were very understanding. So,
Right. The connection piece that I'm saying, you
mhm.
communicated. How many businesses disappear for a day, a week, a month, and don't tell people why? One of the keys as a professional
Whoa.
right? One of the
Whoa.
keys as a professional speaker is you need to get back to somebody within an hour. And
Mm,
I am not exaggerating. If somebody is looking for your business or somebody is looking for your help and they reach out, you've got about an hour grace period to get back to them. And if you don't, they're going to the next person on the list.
mm,
I needed my car. Okay, personal story. My car died last Thursday. My car, which is I've got the best. I've got a Jeep Grand Cherokee that I've had for 10 years. I absolutely love it. It's a Grand Cherokee Limited. It's got heated seats in the winter. It makes me very happy. And a heated steering wheel, very important in Colorado. Anyway, I pull in, I was coming back from the gym on Thursday evening and I get to about a block from my house, and all of a sudden, all the lights go on in the dashboard, and it says something about coolant. And I got it home and pulled it into my garage. And I'm thinking, okay, I need coolant. I don't know what coolant is, but a friend of mine went and got me a thing of 50-50 coolant, whatever that means. I'm like, can I have 80-20? Because that's more like my life. He's like, no, you need 50-50. So he goes and gets me 50-50 orange coolant. Did you know that there's orange, pink, and green? Who knew that you can choose the color of your coolant? Anyway, he gets me the coolant. I pour it into my coolant reservoir thing, and it was like pouring it straight onto the floor in my garage. It totally leaked.
Uh,
So I called AAA the next morning, and I called a mechanic that I've worked with in the past. AAA says to me on the call, they said, do you want to go to our auto body shop, which is about 3 miles from your house? We'll give you a $75 discount if we take your car there.
mm,
I called my mechanic. They answered immediately and said, Carolyn, of course we know your Jeep. How can we help? Had they not answered the phone, I probably would have had, because the tow truck was there, to take my car somewhere else if it was
mm,
highly recommended by AAA. So, are you showing up when your customers need you?
mm.
yes, 100%. No, I have a story that I would love to share. Recently, so I have a social media guy that takes care of my posting now, which is awesome, and he's awesome. And a lady from one of my networking groups reached out to the whole group and said, hey, I need somebody to do X, Y, and Z. Do you guys have recommendations? I responded within like minutes because I knew that if I did not respond in minutes and put Alex first place, that it would have gone to someone else.
Right.
And because of the timing, he now was able to give her a bid for the job and see if he gets it. So the urgency there. So thank you for pointing that out. So if you guys want to make money as a speaker and somebody refers you to a speaking gig, make sure to respond within an hour. This is a huge nugget of wisdom and truth and just business development that everybody needs to hear that it inspires to be a speaker.
Yeah. Next thing, if you're interested in speaking, um, you've got to get really, really good on stage. Like the bar to entry is no longer being okay. You've got to be really good. I don't do a lot of one-on-one coaching. You know that about me, Misty, but I
Yeah, she's
had
allergic. She's allergic to one-on-one coaching. Allergic.
I love group consulting. I love going into a company and working with the team, working with the leadership team, and then working with the management team. And then if it's appropriate for me to work with frontline people, great. But I really love working with management, people who their energy and their being informs what actually happens in the business. So that's really what turns me on. But I got a referral from a CEO group chair. I do a lot of speaking to CEO groups. I love it. And I got a referral from a chair for a woman who is one of the top geologists in the world. So she is a scientist. She works for a big company. And she was asked to keynote a global geology conference in Australia 6 months later. And this chair asked me if I'd be willing to do some one on one coaching with the scientist. It was such a rewarding experience because I saw her scientist brain the second I met her, and she had 40 slides. So I've emceed technical, medical, biotech, scientific conferences. Have
Hmm.
you ever sat through one of those presentations of 40 slides with like 6 or 10 bullet points on each one, and then graphs and charts that you can't see from like
Painful.
beyond? Oh my gosh. So she shows up with 40 slides and all of the scientific data, and she had 30 minutes for her keynote plus 10 minutes for Q&A. And we worked together for 6 months, once a month until we got to the last 2 months, and then twice a month. And then right before she went to Australia, once a week. We then worked in person because she happened to be based in Denver. So we worked in person twice. It She was the hit of the conference because she spoke as a person to people to get the message of what she wanted to have them hear, but also what she was there to learn, because you don't
Hmm.
fly across the world just to speak. You fly across the world to learn from the global community if you're an expert like that. And she said it was so incredibly different and well received than everybody else there. So
Mm.
get good on stage. And if you need coaching, get it.
Yes, get it from somewhere. So get it from me, get it from Carolyn, doesn't matter. So this is sidebar. Like I love coaching speakers.
I know you do. You're
Um,
so good at it.
yeah, like it's so much fun. So with the last speaking engagement I had, um, I got a beautiful note afterward, and they were like, "Wow, you are so gifted." And it's not complicated. I just show up to connect with the audience.
So I want you guys to listen to the difference between Misty and her presentation and me and mine. We are very different speakers.
We
We
are
are
so different.
we are so different. We are different women. We are different speakers. We have
Hmm.
different styles. But I
Hmm.
think what connects us, Misty, is we both show up 100% authentically with the intention of wanting what's best for everyone who attends and who hears us.
Yep.
Now, how this relates to business leaders is so many of the business leaders that I work with are, like you said at the beginning, completely overwhelmed, and they're being so stressed by the rate of disruption and change in the world, which by the way is insanely fast right now. So one of the things is to show up authentically and clear. And the beautiful thing about with this rate of disruption that we're all living in is you do not have to know all the answers. If you show up in a meeting and somebody says, I know exactly what to do, a consultant or somebody in the company says, I know exactly what we should do, or that's not how we've done it around here. We don't do things that way around here. Be very wary of that person
Yes.
because nobody knows everything anymore.
Nobody does.
Nobody.
Every single business is different. Every single business has its own rhythm, its own client base. Like when I work with so many different types of businesses, and if someone, okay, from my world, I'm a success coach for business owners. I do business coaching and then some. So if a business coach comes to you and says, "Hey, follow this checklist and you're going to make $1 million," they're full of shit. Be
Yes.
yeah, because it's unique for each business.
Somebody wants my whole program. Like if they're going to bring me in to consult and they're like, well, what does it look like? I said, I don't know. And they, what do you mean you don't know? I don't know until I get in there, until I
Hmm.
talk with leadership and I find what the struggles
Hmm.
are and where things are working. The concept of reinvention, that I'm a certified reinvention practitioner, which is a brand new field, but I'm one of the first people cert as a certified reinvention practitioner, meaning that I have a toolbox of tools, but I'm not going to, show up and throw up all of the tools. I'm not going to walk in like a plumber and
Hmm.
take my whole toolbox and dump it on the whole table and go, you guys pick what you need. How can I know where, what works and what to keep and what to amplify?
Hmm.
And then it's like pruning a plant, right? What pieces are sucking the life out of the energy that's coming off of the business that we can maybe get rid of right now or not put so much energy into and focus on where the business wants to be. But I don't know that until I show up. And any consultant, I'm talking about the McKinseys of the world and the Accentures of the world and the big giant houses, if
Hmm.
they walk in and say, follow this checklist, the checklist was created in the 1990s when the business cycle was 15 or 20 years long,
Yeah.
not instantaneous.
Yeah. So, in other words, you need consultants like Carolyn and coaches like myself that are willing to dig into the details of the business owner, what's already happening, what's working, what are the goals, what are we trying to achieve next. I just had this conversation with a brand new client today. So, he's like, well, can you guarantee that we make money at the end of your 30-day trial or three, I do a 3-month trial period. Can you guarantee like a financial outcome? And I said, no, I can't. And
Right.
if I were, I would be lying. So, but I did tell him, I reassured him, I said, if it's the right fit and this feels like the right fit with you, there's a thing called Misty Magic. And when there's a right fit with the client and we start the engagement, there's always an increase in revenue. Can I tell you when it's going to happen? No. But if it's the right fit with the client, it happens. Can't tell you how much, can't tell you when. So I told him, I was like, there's Misty Magic. And he was like, well, I need some of that. Give me Misty Magic. And I was just, digging through the details. And I told him, I was like, this is the process, is the more I learn about your business, the more I learn about your goals and your vision, the more I will be able to guide you on the actionable steps that you need to move this thing forward, because that's what it comes down to. Like big picture, great. Most people can see the big picture, but they can't see the daily actionable steps that need to take place to actually get the train moving or keep it moving or grow it. So, anywho, yes, there's my soapbox.
Well, what I love about what you do is it's so important for the leaders because that's really who your audience is. Mine is the whole
Yeah.
leadership team, right? The dynamic in the team. I mean, I am certified in Patrick Lencioni's Working Genius. I've been doing that for, more than 3 years with teams. And when I go with the team and they all see, it's kind of like getting your astrology chart done. Everybody wants to know who they are, and everybody on the team can know how they blend with everybody else. If you've not done the Working Genius assessment, it is one of my favorite things to do. You can go, this is not me, and I don't make any money from it. You can go to workinggenius.com and take it. However, if you and your team, especially your management and executive team, want to see how to better partner, feel free to reach out to me and I will
Mhm.
send the reason it's good to work with a practitioner, a working genius practitioner, is because I can then put together a team map and show you maybe why your a lot of teams are very inventor heavy or very enablement heavy, meaning that they all want to help each other, but nobody's coming up seeing the big picture or like being able to actually do what it takes to get the work done. And the Working Genius is really lovely to be able to see that. So again, just one of the tools in the
Hmm.
toolbox that I will find works really well, especially with boards of directors, because
Hmm.
boards of directors a lot of times paid or volunteer, it doesn't matter. Everybody has their own gifts that they want to bring, but if you can see what everybody brings, it makes it so much easier to work together to actually
Hmm.
accomplish what you guys are working on. So I highly
Yeah,
recommend that.
that's wonderful. It's a great tool for ensuring that you have the right people in the right seats,
Yes.
which is really important. And it can
Yeah.
be very frustrating if the owner or manager or CEO or whoever it is that we're talking about doesn't have the people skills to figure out where they're best suited. A tool like
Or
this can be very helpful.
it can, or you've got the right people, but they're doing the wrong work.
Hmm.
Right? Because every business needs the six geniuses. Every project has the six geniuses in them. But what you need is you actually need to go through all six and see where somebody could step in and do more of what they love. Because when your team is doing what they're great at and what they love, they will do more of it.
Yes, yes. When people are fully utilized, most people, not all, but most people will put more of themselves into something because they're like, ah, I'm being utilized.
And this is fun for me, right? If they're
Yeah.
in their genius, it's fun for them.
Hmm.
Put me, give me a spreadsheet and I just want to crawl under the covers. I am not an Excel spreadsheet detailed person. That is not my expertise, right? But
Yes.
put me in front of a group of people to help them see where their genius lies. Oh man, I could do that 24/7 for a
Mhm.
week at a time.
Yep. My favorite working situation with a client is somebody who's highly driven and or they have business partnerships.
Yes.
So that's my sweet spot is when I'm fully utilized, when my people skills are utilized, when my culture skills are utilized, when my coaching skills are utilized, when the leadership development skills in me for them is utilized, and then we're growing the business at the same time in business strategy. I love strategy and brainstorming,
Yes.
and there's more of it involved when there's partnerships involved.
Here's the thing I noticed
And I
about
love
you.
that.
I know you do, but you're also brilliant in front of an audience. Like I saw you at that first event that you and I met at. In
Mhm,
fact, I was the keynote. You had spoken. I
mhm,
was the keynote. And when it came to question and answer, because you are so good at the one-on-one people part and seeing what someone in the audience might need, I can do it, but mine's more of the big picture group
mhm,
stuff.
mhm.
So do you remember I called you up on stage with me and I said, I'm
Yeah.
gonna partner. Misty and I had met like 20 minutes before.
Yep.
And I called her up on stage and said, do this with me. I said, because your skills so complement mine. And let's give the audience. See, for me, it's not about the ego. Like that's the other thing is a speaking
Same.
business. If it's
Same.
about you, you're gonna fail. Like, so I was
Mic drop.
right? I was not about me. I was about how can I best serve this full audience? And like the best way I can serve is to partner with Misty to bring exactly what they need. Because it was a room full of wannabe entrepreneurs. What
Yes.
they need to be successful, I can help, but Misty and I can nail it. And I
And we
knew that.
did.
And we did. Oh, we did. We got the best reviews from that one, best testimonials. It was amazing.
It was incredible. And it's because we both showed up to serve the people.
Yes.
So, yes, we're proud of ourselves for nailing it, but it wasn't because our egos were driving. It was
Mm-mm.
because we were trying to do what was best for the people that were in front of us.
So that's what a good business coach does and a success coach like Misty does is she shows up with wanting the best for the person, their partnership, all of their team because if a leader shows up at their best and is open and flexible and can pivot like you talked about, right? Then their whole team will benefit from that. And
Mhm.
then you can bring me in and I can get the whole team understanding what their role is and why what they used to do doesn't work anymore because it doesn't for a lot of companies.
100%. Yes. We make a good team on a lot of levels.
Yes, we do, my friend.
Our speaking is complementary to one another, and our coaching and consulting is complementary. So I love it.
Me too. We're
And
lucky.
what you love, I don't, and what I love, you don't. So they so let's go through the list real quick and wrap up. We can have you back for another conversation because this was really fun.
Thanks.
And I'm sure the audience will appreciate it. Let's see. So, how to make money as a speaker. Pivot. Referrals are great. Reputation. Solutions. What is the solution? What are you trying to solve for the audience? 1 hour response time to any emails or referrals because you will lose it. The speaker circuit is hot. Uh, be a great speaker, not average. Just be a great speaker. And that's different for all of us. So my greatness is different than yours.
Oh, yeah.
Want what's best for the audience, show up authentically. And if it's about you, you will fail.
That's pretty much it. That's a really good list for an impromptu conversation. I've been doing
Yeah, it
this a
is.
really long time. I'm so glad I could help.
Well, thank you. And I appreciate having this conversation with you. And I know the audience appreciates it. So, if somebody would love to reach out to you about your speaking or consulting, where can they find you?
You can
Your
go to my website.
Yeah,
Yep.
cool.
Carolyn, CarolynStrauss.com. It's that simple.
Yay.
And you can find me on LinkedIn.
Mhm.
And that's really where I spend most of my time because it's business.
Yeah. So we'll share everything in the description for the audience. But thank you for sharing your website. And I'm sure you're going to get a bunch of hits on your website now, like, oh, who is this lady? She's awesome. She's a great speaker, you guys, and she's a great human too on top of it. So you will be extremely blessed to have a conversation with her. Do you do consultations?
I do. What, somebody's going to hire me to speak just from watching a video? No, 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 no. No, 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 no. No, say I'm interested, I have a team that's going through this issue, or I'm planning an event and I'd like to talk to you about speaking. And if I'm not the right speaker, you will be referred to the person who is the right speaker, because I don't want to fail and I don't want your event to fail. I can't tell you how many things I've actually turned down because I was not the right fit.
Right. Yes. 100%. I'm right there with you, girl. All right. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you to everybody. Thank you, Misty, for having me. And thank you to all your listeners for your time and attention. I appreciate you.
Thank you. All right, you guys. Until next time, we will see you soon.
Thank you for tuning in to the Wealthy Mind podcast. Please be sure to download the Wealthy Mind app today and make sure to support your local Dress for Success.